Shawnee, football's back in the house. What is going on? It is your boy Johnny John with my Week 18 picks and preview. And this has a lot of playoff implications going into today. Got 2 games for tomorrow on Saturday, and then the rest will be on Sunday. Should be a pretty fun slate of games. So far this season, my record is 169-88, which is pretty darn good if you ask me. Better than most of the experts on NFL.com and on other published websites. So follow for more. But kicking things off on Saturday, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore at 4:30 o'clock. Ravens are actually the dogs in this one. Steelers are favored by 4. Over under is set at 35.5. I'm pretty sure Lamar Jackson is actually not playing in this one, so that would definitely show why the spread is in favor of Pittsburgh. And for those reasons, it looks like I will also be rolling with Pittsburgh. Lamar Jackson's going to be in bubble wrap. I don't even know who their backup is these days. But Mason Rudolph needs to get a win. I'm pretty sure they are winning in... No, the Steelers, if they win, have a 67% chance of making the playoffs. So not actually so bad. I'll show you that. Wrong thing. Hello. Kaboom. Yeah, so the Steelers, it's still really small, so you can't really see it. Anyway, we're playing with graphics and screens and stuff. But the Steelers should be pretty good and have something to play for, and their playoff hopes might still be on the line after they get a win. We will see. But Lamar's been playing incredible, and so have the Ravens. So they get the opportunity to rest their starters on the final week and get ready for the playoffs. Moving on to the second game for tomorrow. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the Steelers. Yeah, I'm excited to see what Mason Rudolph can do. It actually looks like the Steelers have been more in sync with Rudolph as their quarterback, as he's just kind of running, gunning, and running that West Coast offense. And you know, it's really tough for a lot of teams to develop a new identity once they lose a franchise quarterback that they had for 15 years, like Ben Roethlisberger. So I really do commend them as far as going through their sort of revolving door of quarterbacks over the past few years with Mitch Trubisky and now Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph's been in and out. So we will see how things prevail tomorrow at 4:30. Moving on to prime time Saturday Night Live. Houston Texans at Indianapolis Colts in Lucas Oil Field at 8:15. The Texans are favored -1 point, and I think I like them to win. I'm pretty sure CJ Stroud should be back in this one, and has proven to be one of the more consistent quarterbacks this season. Has a great touchdown to interception ratio at 21-5, and leads quarterbacks in that category. The Colts defense has actually been pretty good and definitely pressured him, a season high of 25 the last time they played each other. So we'll see how things go. The Colts, I think, should have Jonathan Taylor back in a somewhat meaningless game. Although the Colts, I think, also have a chance of making the playoffs. Currently, they have a 46% chance. So they actually are in a situation where they win, they are in. And for Houston, if it's the same thing. So this is basically a playoff game for these two teams. Currently, they are the 7 and 8 seeds in the AFC. So it will really depend on who wins this one and gets their ticket into the playoffs. And there may still be a chance that both of them could get in, although I don't believe so, since I'm pretty sure the Bills and Jags pretty much have everything locked up for themselves. Oh, getting tired. But that's pretty much all I got for that game. Moving on to Sunday's slate, and we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing against the Carolina Panthers. Bucks are favored 4.5. Over/under is at 37. I like the over/under on this one actually a lot. I feel like since this is the last game, both teams are just gonna let loose and score a lot of points. I could be wrong. Bucks need to win this one. It's not really a playoff game, but they pretty much don't have their playoff spot completely secured. I'm pretty sure if the Saints win and the Bucks lose, that the Saints would get the ticket. Now the Bucks are playing Carolina, which are the worst team in the league currently, and the Saints are playing Atlanta, which is a division opponent, so much tougher to match up for them. But I've seen crazy things happen, and crazy things can continue to happen, so we will see how things play out there. But we can move on now. Oh, whoops, hold on 1 second. Kaboom, kablam, kabowie. Alright, there we go. Alright, there we go. There we go. Can we get some hip-hop horns? Can we get some hip-hop horns? Gotta add Chewbacca. Anyway, I like the Bucks to win this one. I think it's gonna be a tough matchup for the Eagles the next week, having to probably go to Tampa. I think the Eagles should still take care of business and win that, and hopefully build something up, because they haven't looked too good in the past few weeks, and their game's pretty much meaningless this week against the Giants, but we'll get into that in a minute. Anyway, moving on to the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals, the Battle of Ohio for state pride, baby. And Joe Flacco has been awesome in the past few weeks, but he is actually not starting. Jeff Driscoll will be the latest backup quarterback for the Browns. And it's pretty awesome, honestly, that the Browns are sitting Joe Flacco ahead of the playoffs. Just an incredible story, and really loving the Joe Flacco story this year. So hopefully he can continue and maybe go on a nice little playoff run, honestly, because that'd be pretty cool. You know, we've seen him do it before. Anyway, I think I would like the Browns if they were starting Flacco, but unfortunately they are not. So I think I have to take the Bengals. They're favored by 7. They're at home. You know, they still have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, so should be able to get a win even with Jake Browning, who looked pretty good in a couple games already this season. So in a battle between Jeff Driscoll and Jake Browning, I think I'll take Jake Browning and the better offensive weapons, in my opinion, with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, especially since the Browns might be sitting some other players, honestly, on offense and defense to just stay healthy and rest up. Moving on to the Minnesota Vikings at the Detroit Lions at Ford Field at 1 o'clock. And the Lions are favored with minus 3.5 points. Lions have their ticket for the playoffs all locked up as the 3 seed. Actually, no, their seeding could change. They could actually get the 2 seed if Dallas were to lose and if Philly were to lose. If both those happen, yeah, I think that is the scenario. So seeding could happen, could fight and change a little bit in the NFC. We will see how that all shakes up. But the Lions still have something to play for, and it's a division opponent. But all being said, I still think the Lions are the favorite and should take care of business pretty easy. Especially after the loss against Dallas in a really tough match. So fueled by fury and furious anger, I think that they will take care of business and get ready for the playoffs with a win. So I like the Lions this week. Moving on to the New York Jets versus the New England Patriots. Two new teams. This one's taking place at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough at 1 o'clock. Patriots are the favorite by 1.5 at home. Pretty surprising. This could be Bill Belichick's last game as the coach of the New England Patriots. I personally don't know if that's going to happen. I think it's more likely that they would revise his GM role and then either retain him as a coach or trade him as a coach. It's a tall order for a lot of teams to ask to absorb a GM and coach, but one or the other or half, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's not the discussion for the day. The game is between the Jets and the Patriots, and I think I like the Jets in this one. But I really don't know. The Jets desperately want to end their 15-game losing streak against their division rival, and this is a funky matchup because the New England defense has still been playing pretty well this season. But the Jets have some big names on offense still with Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and hopefully they can spoil the Patriots season finale, but we will see. You know what? Maybe that helps the Patriots. I think they already have the number 2 pick pretty much locked in, but anyway. Moving on to the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints at the Caesar Dome in New Orleans at 1 o'clock. Saints are favored by 3. Over-under is set at 45. I personally like the Saints to win this one, especially with their playoff hopes still on the line. Derek Carr has definitely elevated his play over the past few weeks. Is it enough to get them in the playoffs? Probably not, since I think the Packers and Bucks are in much better positions. Let's see. I don't even think they can surpass the Packers, but the Bucks, they can have a funky scenario if the Bucks lose and they win. They might be without Alvin Kamara. I think that's a game time decision, so we will see. But I still have more faith in Derek Carr over the collective effort of Taylor Heineke and Desmond Ridder for the Falcons. I like some pieces on the Falcons, but they are still a quarterback away. So until they get a guy like maybe Justin Fields or Russell Wilson next year, or draft a guy like Shondor Sanders, I think that they still have a lot of question marks at the quarterback position and probably won't make the playoffs until they get that resolved. But it's still a huge improvement for the Falcons this year. Have a 7-9 record. Defense looks significantly better. So still trending in the right direction. Bravo. You should be proud of your season, Atlanta. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. taking place in Tennessee at Nissan Stadium at 1 o'clock. And the Titans are the dogs at home. Jags are favored by -5.5 points, over under at 40. I like the over in that. I think this is going to be a high scoring game. I'm not 100% sure if Trevor Lawrence is playing. I'm going to bank and say that he is. They also, I believe, are a win-in situation, so they really have to put it all on the line. And it looks like Tannehill might start for an injured Will Levis. And this could also be Derrick Henry's final game in Tennessee. So I'm sure he would love to secure a W against a division opponent and, ride off into the sunset or whichever team he goes to in free agency. But I'm banking on Trevor Lawrence. I think that they will get the win. It looks like he was back in practice on Wednesday. Love me some Dougie Peterson and Travis Etienne, so I think that offense can get things going. And they've got a pretty nice defense as well. So I'm running with the Jags. And I think they'll win. I'm not sure about cover, and I like the over, so take that for what you will. Moving on to the Seattle Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals, and the Arizona Cardinals embarrassed my Philadelphia Eagles last week. Maybe they can do the same thing against the Seattle Seahawks, who also embarrassed the Philadelphia Eagles. This game is taking place at State Farm Stadium in Arizona at 4:25. The Seahawks are currently the favorite at -3 points. Over-under is at 47.5. That I'm not so crazy about. The Seahawks, I do like the money line, and I think I'd take the points there too. I think the Seahawks can win, should win, and if they do, then they can potentially make the playoffs, although it's still a very far shot. Currently, they have a 26% chance, and with a win, it's a 44% chance, so they really need basically the Packers to lose, and then I think some other crazy things as well. I'm not going to get into it just because it's not that likely, but I like Geno and DK Metcalf. They've got a pretty nice defense. But for the Cardinals, they've looked like a whole new team with Kyler Murray at the helm. They've definitely gone on a nice little run. James Conner was eating up yards against the Eagles. Literally got, I think, 6 yards a carry and almost 200 yards, or at least it felt like that. So we will see if they can continue that going forward. I don't really know. They only have one more week. But, momentum into the next season. Kyler's potentially playing for his future in Arizona. I think they're most likely going to keep him. But, Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May, all intriguing prospects. Obviously, if they took Marvin Harrison Jr., they would most likely keep Kyler and pair him up. And they desperately do need some pass catchers, so it would fit them very well. Although, I think they're currently positioned at the 2 or 3 pick. So it really depends on what the Bears are doing, which is a great transition right now because we've got a fun division game, the Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. This game is taking place at 4:25 at Lambeau Field. Should be a very fun division matchup. It's not really a playoff game for the Bears, but it might as well be because this is a division opponent, and they can stop the Packers from making the playoff, or at least really spoil their chances. So I'm sure for Bears fan, that would be a huge win in the column. And you know what? If they win, an 8-9 season is not that bad. It looks like Justin Fields could be your quarterback for the future. He's definitely looked much better as of late and helped you win games. And once you really got that Montez Sweat trait, that really was the biggest difference, I think, for the Bears season. Their defense was really vacant of playmakers, and getting him and a little bit of a pass rush really helped galvanize some energy into that defense. So exciting to see what the Bears can do going forward. As far as Sunday, I like the Packers to win this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears spoil them. Jordan Love's actually been looking really good as of late. I know we've sort of gone back and forth on this. Is Jordan Love good or bad? Because he's definitely gone through some stretches. But if the Packers go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love and basically don't miss a step from one quarterback to another, that's pretty incredible. I guess drafting at quarterback for your franchise. But I like the Packers to win this one with the playoff hopes on the line. I think Jordan Love and his young receivers can take care of business, and I am excited to see what they can do. But I'm also really pumped to see what Justin Fields and that Bears offense can do, their final effort of the season, and hopefully and potentially spoil the Packers' playoff chances. Anyway, moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. Give me a second.
Do something.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't there. Anyway, I'm back. Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. I still think that they're the San Diego Chargers. Anyway, this one's taking place at SoFi Stadium in Southern California at 4:25 Eastern. And currently, the Chargers are the favorites with -3.5 at home. Over-under is at 35. And this is most likely because the Kansas City Chiefs are locked in at the 3 seed. Andy Reid has opened up on Wednesday, pretty much saying that everyone is going to sit in the finality. So you're not going to see Pat Mahomes. You're probably not going to see Travis Kelce. You're probably not going to see Taylor Swift. I know she's not a star. I guess she's a star. She's just not a star on the field for the Chiefs. But she probably won't be in attendance for this game either, because some of these starters might not even dress. And as for the Chargers, they're still missing a lot of their best players. Justin Herbert is still out with an injury, and it looks like they will be without Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Joey Bosa as well. So that means Easton Stick will get the start. And to be honest, I just don't even care who wins this one. It's not going to be that exciting or that sexy. I want to say that the Chiefs are going to win, but they're dogs on the road to backup quarterback. But they're starting a backup quarterback. I don't know. I guess I'm sort of scratching my head going back and forth. I guess Easton Stick has been starting a week or two, so he's got more fresh reps. Anyway, on a separate note, I think Chris Jones is going to get at least half a sack in this game. So if you got money line props, I would put money on that. He gets a good, $750,000 if he gets an extra half sack or sack. So I'd put my money on him getting his money. And I made a pretty cool TikTok and YouTube tweet and, vertical video that I hope you can enjoy. So check that out, and we will see. Moving on to the Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas at 4:25. And this game, I don't believe, has any playoff implications. The Broncos have been eliminated, and so have the Raiders. So I guess this game's just for pride. And the Raiders are currently the favorite at -2.5, and the over-under is at 38. And I like the Raiders to win this one, honestly. I think Antonio Pierce has more on the line than Sean Payton, and Russell Wilson isn't starting for the Broncos. So I like all of that adding up in favor for Antonio Pierce's squad and the Las Vegas Raiders, baby, with an 8-9 record potentially. Definitely, I hope he gets that full-time job. He's done a great job as the interim coach, going 4-4 so far. So another win would go huge for him. And as for Sean Payton, honestly, did a decent job this season. Turned things around after an abysmal start. I think they started 0-5. So the fact that they have an 8-8 record is definitely a tap on the shoulder or a pat on the back. For the Broncos, it seems like they're going to have a new quarterback going forward. I wish Russell Wilson the best of luck. I don't think he's going to retire. I think he still has a lot of good football in him. But his contract is going to be huge. So depending on what Denver can do as far as eating up some of that or trading some of it or restructuring, we will see. And for all we know, maybe Denver actually keeps him and just restructures it. I don't think that's very likely. It doesn't really seem like the marriage between him and Sean Payton was going to last very long. And it really seems like Sean Payton used Russell Wilson as a scapegoat at every turn, which is unfortunate because I'm a big Russell Wilson fan. I like Sean Payton too. But Russell Wilson represent RVA. Or RVA, I used to do that. Our Town Down, just like Usher. Who's the halftime show? Oh, we are crushing it with these transitions today. Anyway, moving on to the game of the week in my eyes, although not really because it's pretty meaningless. It's pretty much a preseason game. But it is the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. Isn't it kind of funny how the very beginning and the very end of the season sort of ends with preseason? Anyway, this one's taking place at MetLife at 4:25, and there's no Tommy Cutlass this week. It's unfortunately. But the Eagles are going to be playing against Tyrod Taylor, I'm pretty sure. And, the Eagles played the Giants just 2 weeks ago. Granted, it was a little bit of a different situation since the Eagles were at home on Christmas against Tommy Cutlets. And this week it will be against Tyrod Taylor. And Eagles don't really have... if they win and the Cowboys lose and they're both playing at 4:25, the Eagles could theoretically sneak into the 2 or 3 seed. So, they're definitely got something on the line, and they had an abysmal loss against the Arizona Cardinals. So it would be nice to get a win in the stat column moving into the playoffs. But it seems more or less likely that they're locked in at the 5 seed and going to be playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in another week for the wild card. But as far as the Eagles, they really need to clean things up on both sides of the ball. As far as the offense, they really need to get things in rhythm. I don't think Devontae Smith will be playing in this one. Hopefully that means that A.J. Brown can go to town and really make an impact and get things going. I think he has 6 or 7 games this year with 125 yards. He had 5 or 6 of them at the beginning of the season, breaking Megatron's record, and I think has only had 1 game like that since then. So it would be nice to get the pass game going. But the Eagles also still need to have a well-balanced attack and get the run game involved. It seems like they run the ball when they need to pass the ball, and they pass the ball when they need to run the ball. I don't know if that's Brian Johnson or if it's them audibling or just guys feeling themselves. Either way, guys need to be more accountable and get things going on offense. And for the defense, I think that they've been victims of more blame than they deserve over the past few weeks. Granted, they've really bent and then started to break over time is, I think, the best way to do it. They've made some turnovers. That Sidney Brown touchdown was pretty incredible last week or 2 weeks ago. Dude, returned it for 100 yards. I'm exhausted even just thinking about it. But they really need a win back in the column, and the Eagles should be doing a little bit better defensively. I think they're getting Zach Cunningham back, and I don't know what the situation is with Big Play Slay, but hopefully he's back for the playoffs. So I like the Eagles to win this one, but I think it's going to be close. Eagles are favored at -5. I like them to win by a field goal or more, which is technically equals to -5, but not exactly. So I don't know if I like the points, but I like the Eagles to win, and I like the over-under at 42. I think 43 points is pretty easy for these two teams on the last week. And we got, 3 games left, so let's conclude things off. We got the Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers, and this is at Levi Stadium at Santa Clara, California at 4:25 Eastern. And currently the 49ers are favorites with -4, and the over-under is at 41. And I'm pretty sure, is Brock Purdy even going to be playing? Kyle Shanahan said starters except Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey will be playing a significant role, leading me to think that I kind of think the Rams are going to win this one, if I'm being completely honest. I think they have more to play for. They might be locked in their seed, so I may have lied. Yeah, it actually looks like they are locked in as the wild card. Even a win. Yeah, so this is a pretty meaningless game for them, actually. But Kyren Williams has been balling out all season. Same thing with Puka Nacua. And, it looks like Carson Wentz is actually getting the start instead of Matthew Stafford. So it'll be interesting to see, honestly, how the battle of the backup quarterbacks is. Some of these guys might be playing for their futures or for future contracts. Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold, both, I think, are betting on themselves and, trying to get a starter or a good backup role. Sam Darnold definitely has that and might prove to a lot of teams that he's looking good. Both of these guys are on display and could potentially take advantage of a great game similar to what Baker Mayfield was able to do with the Rams last year. Maybe Carson Wentz can do the same thing, even in just one game. But I'm going back and forth on this one. I guess I like the 49ers just because they're the more talented team. And if only Purdy and McCaffrey are going to be out, then I guess Ayuk and Debo and Kittle are still going to be playing. So I'll go with the Niners on this one. I think I went back and forth, but kaboom. I switched it in my Canva, so we will post that pick later. And this game, moving on to the next game, Dallas Cowboys at Washington Commanders at FedEx Field at 4:25, same time as the Eagles. They don't want teams watching each other. They want competitive games. Cowboys are massive favorites in this one, -13. And for that, I will say I'll take the Commanders, take the points. But Cowboys should win this one. Over-under is at 46. That seems pretty good. If I were laying the line, I'd say 47.5. So for those reasons, I like the over. I always root for the over. Everyone likes to see points. But Dallas is entering the final week. Pretty much destined for they're destined for the playoffs, and their seeding could very much change. And after a very controversial ending against the Lions last week, I don't even know if they deserve that upset. They find themselves riding into the new year and potentially have the number 2 seed. So A win would keep them in the number 2 slot. A loss would most likely keep the Lions or Eagles in that 2 spot, depending on how things play out. So very interesting to see how the dominoes fall. I'm not rooting for the Cowboys, as that's pretty much my second favorite thing to do on Sundays is root for the Cowboys to lose. But we'll see. They definitely want to get the win, and if they get this win, they will go perfect at home with an 8-0 record at AT&T Stadium this season. But the Commanders could play spoiler. They did so. They were not able to do so on Thanksgiving. Dak and company definitely handed them a pretty big loss, so we will see what happens this time around. And the final game of the week, and I'm getting tired, so we got to conclude this thing anyway. And it's the Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, not cafe. Bills are favorited -3. Over under is at 49.5. And this is a division game with technically the AFC East title on the line. Is that actually true? Because I think the Dolphins have the... Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, so this is for the record. Dolphins have an 11-5 record, and the Bills have a 10-6 record. But with the win, I guess they could steal the 2 seed from the Dolphins. And what a turn of events for the Bills if that would be the case. Josh Allen's really been playing, I'd say, mediocre, honestly. He's been a game manager the past few weeks. The run game's been playing incredible. He hasn't actually been asked to do too much with the pass game. But the Bills have been looking awesome the past few weeks and are looking like they're back into playoff form. And same thing for the Dolphins. They're one of the best teams in football this year. I love Mike McDaniel and what he's doing with that offense. And Tua and Tyreek might be going for some records. I think Tyreek's still a couple hundred yards away and in a walking boot and had a fire at his house this week. So for all those distractions happening in Miami, I think that Buffalo can get this win. But we will see. I like the over. Both teams are pretty good at scoring. But we will see how things play off. I will actually be playing basketball during most of this game, so I will probably miss the first half. But maybe we'll do a live stream for the final half or something, depending on how exhausted I am and how long it takes for me to shower. But anyway, go Birds! Week 18 picks and preview with Shawnee Football are pretty much in the books. Hope you like, follow, and subscribe. Check out Fanatics for all your sports merchandise. They got the best stuff, all official. They got Nike, Mitchell & Ness. They got their own stuff in Fanatics, 47 brand, all of them. So check them out. Good stuff. And check me out, your boy, on all social platforms. And look at me with the Lombardi. Hey, trophy time. Anyway, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And that's how we're going to go out on a win.